Hey Frag fam, Corbin here from Northwest Scent. Today we're going to be covering my top 6 cardamom heavy fragrances. So these aren't just fragrances that have cardamom as a note, but they have it as a very prominent note. And of all the fragrances that I've tried that have cardamom in them, these are my top 6 favorite. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, please stay tuned. Additionally, just real quick, I'm going to link a video above. Be sure to watch that video. I'm doing a giveaway since I'm about to hit 100 subscribers. And if you want to be entered, make sure you check it out and then follow the instructions in the video so you can be entered. Thank you. So with all that out of the way, let's roll that intro. All right, welcome back. So cardamom, most of us love it. It's known as being kind of a date night note, or fragrances that contain it tend to kind of lean towards being date night fragrances. It's sweet, it's seductive, it's spicy, and these 6 are gonna check off all those boxes for you guys. Also, I kind of noticed I might have a shadow kind of popping up right here from my hat, so I do apologize. I hope that's not too distracting. But kicking it right off with number 6, we just have to get this one out of the way. It's probably the most obvious on this list, and it's none other than Yves Saint Laurent's La Nuit de l'Homme. So, most of you probably already have this in your collection. This one has cardamom, lavender, cedar, and bergamot as the 4 most prominent notes. And this one's just known as being probably the best date night scent for the last 10 years. Honestly, 13 years. This came out in 2008. It's gone through a few reformulations. I've owned all 3. I have not really noticed a difference between the first 2, but the current formulation, there is definitely a noticeable difference between the first 2 and then this current one. It's been watered down a little bit, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily worth it to go out and find these. The biggest difference is just the performance, basically. The newer formulations only last about 4 or 5 hours, at least on my skin. But with this one, and this one's a 2013 bottle, which is second formulation, I get about 8-9 hours, so just a few extra. Honestly though, you can just spray heavier and you're good to go. But as far as the scent goes, it's just sweet, spicy. This one is super easy to wear. It's pretty versatile as well. It definitely shines as a date night scent, but you could wear this to the office easily. You could wear this casually. I think you could even just wear this, kicking it around the house. This is definitely one of the more versatile cardamom heavy scents. So if you have not tried this one yet, I would definitely recommend it. 13 years later, it's still kicking ass. It's still doing a great job. And it's just a well-rounded fragrance. So again, number 6 spot was Yves Saint Laurent's La Nuit de l'Homme. The fragrance at the number 5 spot kind of fills the same niche as La Nuit de l'Homme. They've honestly competed with one another for a while. And I actually prefer the scent on this one just a little bit more. It's not necessarily known as being a cardamom fragrance. I think more people know it for the amber and the tobacco, but cardamom is definitely a prominent note and I can smell it easily in this scent. And the fragrance I'm referring to, it's from Dolce Gabbana. It's The One. And this is the Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Toilette would fit right here too. And this is another fragrance where it's a true flanker. It's just a little bit better performing than the EDT. As far as the scent goes, I honestly don't detect a difference in smell. I just get about an hour or 2 better performance with the EDP. But as I mentioned earlier, it has cardamom, ginger, tobacco, and amber as the 4 most prominent notes. And yeah, this one to me is just more seductive. Not taken away from La Nuit de l'Homme at all. That one's great as well. But if I had to choose either or for a first impression or like a date night kind of thing, I would definitely go with this one. This is the first fragrance that I actually got in my collection specifically like for date nights and that kind of stuff. And it still is blowing my mind to this day. I remember when I went and actually smelled it for the first time, it literally blew my mind how good this one was. And I bought a bottle right there, then and there, full retail. So I wouldn't say do that. You can find this for almost half of the retail price. And I would definitely recommend going that route. It's not the most natural smelling nor the best performing fragrance. You get maybe about 5-6 hours with the Eau de Parfum. I only get about 4 or 5 with the Eau de Toilette. But it's still an amazing fragrance. It still kicks butt and it does its job really, really well. So if you haven't tried this fragrance, which I can't imagine none of you have, but if you haven't, definitely check out Dolce Gabbana the one Eau de Parfum. The fragrance of the number 4 spot isn't necessarily known as being a super cardamom heavy fragrance, but it's definitely there as a heavily supporting note, and without it, this fragrance would not be the same. It's known as being kind of like a work scent, kind of a gentleman, like dressed up, kind of classy scent. And some people actually compare the smell of this one to like a cleaner, which I don't get at all. But nonetheless, the fragrance I'm referring to, it's from Tom Ford, and it's the original Oud Wood. And yeah, I love this fragrance. This is another one. When I first smelled it, I was at Nordstrom, you know, I had a tester strip, sprayed it on, and it just blew my mind. I literally kept the tester strip and took it home with me, and I just kept sniffing it, and then I immediately started saving up for a bottle. This stuff is amazing. It has notes, of course, of cardamom. It also has oud, rosewood, and amber, among other notes. But this one is just like the perfect gentleman scent. I don't really know how to describe it. Obviously, it's a little bit sweet and spicy from that cardamom. It has oud, which is a really, really clean oud. There's zero dirtiness to this at all. It also has rosewood, which just adds kind of a different woody nuance. Then it has amber, which just adds a little bit of like vanillic sweetness. There's nothing really too resinous about this or powdery, which amber can give off sometimes. This one is just sweet, a little bit spicy. It's very woody. It's very clean. If you wear this, you're gonna feel clean. And not like a citrus heavy scent or anything like that. It's just a different kind of like refreshingness, I guess you could say. But I feel super confident every time I wear this fragrance. If you guys haven't tried this one, it's pretty expensive, so I would not recommend obviously blind buying it. But if you can, I would definitely go to Nordstrom and try a sample, or maybe just buy a small decant on the Facebook groups or somewhere. But this is one of my favorite fragrances from Tom Ford, just the classic Oud Wood. I can't get enough of this stuff. My only issue is performance. For how expensive it is, I only get about 6 hours, which is not great. I heard that it used to perform better, but nowadays it's just, they've watered it down a little bit or something. Regardless of the performance issues, I still think this is an A+ fragrance, and I think every man needs something like this in his collection. So if you haven't tried this one, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And again, number 4 spot was Tom Ford's Oud Wood. The fragrance of the number 3 spot I talked about in a video maybe a few days back or something. It smells to me really similar to Carolina Herrera's CHMN Privé. I've seen that comparison before too. However, this one to me just smells better. It smells higher quality. It performs a lot better. And it's just a little bit more expensive, but it's also a larger size bottle. So I think all the positives you get out of it definitely outweigh the negative of the slightly increased price. And the fragrance I'm referring to, it's from Jean Paul Gaultier, and it is Mal Essence de Parfum. Yeah, I was about to pull the pin off to smell it, but you don't have to. Yeah, so this stuff is amazing. It definitely has that Mal DNA there, but this one's not dated at all. I know a lot of people think Mal is kind of outplayed at this point. You know, it's 25 years old, I think. Came out in '96. This one's definitely modern. This retains the lavender and the vanilla from the original. However, they've also added cardamom, of course, and then leather. So this one, yeah, it just comes across a little more mysterious. It's definitely a little bit darker. I think it's perfect for this time of year. It's not a very heavy leather at all. This fragrance in general doesn't really wear very heavy, but it just smells awesome. I think that this is definitely the Mal DNA improved with the cardamom and then the leather. And like I said, it performs a lot better too. I get about 8 hours out of this. This is a 125 milliliter size bottle, and I think I bought it for about 60. So it's really good price as well for what you're getting. And I just can't say enough about this. If you guys like the original Mal, or maybe you like CHMN Privé, for example, you'll definitely like this one. This is both of those DNAs, but improved and with better performance. And I don't think you would really smell like a ton of people out there, because not many people talk about this one at all. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, again, the number 3 spot was Jean Paul Gaultier Mal Essence de Parfum. The fragrance in the number 2 spot is one of the most hyped niche fragrances in existence. When it first came out, the scent character on this one was very unique, and that's definitely part of the reason why it caught a ride on the hype train. I would be lying to you if I did not put this fragrance in a list of top cardamom fragrances. This one's known for it, and it's loved by many. And the fragrance I'm referring to, it's from Parfums de Marly, and it is Layton. Just the original. So yeah, this stuff is amazing. It has notes of lavender, cardamom, apple, and vanilla, among other notes, of course. And this is another fragrance where when I first checked it out, you know, I was at the department store, I tested it on tester strip, and it literally blew my mind. And I actually did a spray on my wrist that day. And I was in downtown, we were doing some errands and just kind of checking out shops and stuff. And I actually went back a couple hours later and did another respray because it was that good. And it just had me sucked in. And then literally that weekend I went out and bought my bottle. So for me, the hype is real with this one. It's just, to me, it's one of the most perfect date fragrances. It's sweet, but not cloyingly sweet. It's not like Ultra Mal from Jean Paul Gaultier where it's just, you know, candy in your face, you know, rot your teeth out kind of sweetness. It's just the perfect amount of sweetness. Has a little bit of freshness from that signature Parfum de Marly green apple. The lavender makes it kind of calming and a little bit clean. And the vanilla just kind of sits in the back and just provides, you know, an overall sweetness. And of course it is spicy from that cardamom as well. They actually advertise this as like a fresher offering from the house. This is definitely not a fresh scent. This is fall, winter, early spring exclusive in my opinion. But it's one of the most perfect men's fragrances for me. Some people say it kind of smells mentholic and they get kind of an off-putting, you know, kind of sharp minty smell. I don't get this at all, or I don't get that at all from this, but I understand some do. And because of that, I think this is one where if you want to check it out, it's definitely worth sampling. But if you do enjoy it, you can find this one on discounters as well as the Facebook fragrance groups for a really good deal. I think they go for about $140, which is less than half of retail. So this is definitely one of the more affordable niche fragrances. And if you haven't checked this one out, this is one of the ones that I would 100% recommend sampling because it's that good. And again, the hype is real with this one, at least for me. So the number 2 spot, again, it was from Parfums de Marly, and it's Layton. So the fragrances mentioned in this video were not necessarily ranked. I know I said I slightly prefer Dolce & Gabbana the 1 to Yves Saint Laurent's La Nuit de l'Homme. However, that is just a very slight preference. In general, these are all pretty even. However, the one I saved here for the number 1 spot is definitely my favorite. If you told me I had to get rid of all the fragrances in this video except for one, this is the bottle I'm keeping. Now it's from a slightly lesser known niche house that has a big array of leather fragrances, which I have tried all of them, and this is definitely my favorite offering from them. The house is called Memo Paris, and the fragrance is African leather. So yeah, this is one where I will just grab the bottle every couple of days and just sniff the atomizer just to get that scent again. It's that addictive to me. It has cardamom, of course. It also has leather, saffron, and oud, among some other spices. And this one is just like, for me, date night in a bottle. It can be a little bit hard to wear maybe for some. The leather in this is a little bit of a dirtier leather, but definitely not skanky by any means. It's not like ombre leather from Tom Ford. That's a very clean leather and you can basically pull that off anywhere. This one, you definitely have to be dressed right for it and then kind of in the right mood and mindset and maybe location. But this thing is insanely good. I don't get much oud from it, to be honest. There's a little bit of woodiness to it and maybe that's what the oud is, but in general, yeah, this one is very dark, sweet, spicy, and it has a very prominent leather note. My girlfriend absolutely digs this one once we get past the opening. The opening of this can be a little bit sharp, honestly a little bit similar to like vodka, but just after a few minutes that goes away really quickly, and then the cardamom shines for about an hour, maybe hour and a half. It's very sweet and spicy. The leather is there the whole way through, and by the time you get into the dry down, this is a very leathery dominant scent with a little bit of woodiness, and the cardamom just kind of takes a backseat and just kind of provides a very light sweetness. But I'm telling you, everybody that I've let smell this one, especially in the dry down, they love it. They say this is like one of the best things I've ever smelled. It's super unique, like I said earlier, and I guarantee you, if you get something like this, you're gonna smell like nobody around you. It's really hard to describe how this one does smell exactly, but I'm just telling you, this is one where you guys need to get a sample and judge it for yourself. As soon as I smelled this, the hype was real. Luckily it was a blind buy, so I'm glad I enjoyed it because this one is fairly expensive, but it is definitely one worth sampling and potentially getting a full bottle. So again, number 1 spot, it was from Memo Paris, and it's called African leather. Well, there it is, my top 6 cardamom heavy fragrances. Any of these should do you guys really well. They'll be great in date night situations. They'll make you smell amazing. They'll make you smell edible in some instances, and they'll just pull in compliments. If you guys missed the intro, I talked about in my last video, I'm doing a giveaway, and you guys have to watch that video to be entered. So again, I will link that video right here. And be sure to watch the entire video so you can see the instructions on how to actually enter and be qualified for that giveaway. So again, please check that out. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate leaving a like and then commenting down below. And then while you're down there, maybe just subscribing and hitting the bell notification just so you stay up to date on new videos when they get released. And with that, that's all I have for you guys today. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.